Then I had one finish, and these are all, I have all been January finishes. I think I had 12, 12 finishes between November and December, all smalls, nothing big. But so my oldest daughter, Caitlin, when she was home, had been looking at Pinterest and looking at embroidery, kind of more modern embroidery type things. And she found this lady. And so I taught her how to embroider, and we both did. I don't think she quite finished hers, but we both stitched this, and it was super, super easy. And I had everything. I think we maybe got some extra red or blue thread at Joann's, but I had the fabric, and Caitlin actually did the tracing with a Sharpie and on here, and then we just stitched them, and her directions for stitching were fantastic. And I am amazed at how more than embroidery, I really call this thread painting, because I think that's really more what this is. But it's basically satin stitches, and it's just the direction that you go with your satin stitches, you know, to make their little puffy coats or their hats or their scarves, whatever. And then these trees, and she tells you how many threads to use, and it was just super simple, all DMC, easy, easy. It only took me a couple days to stitch this, and I would just sit and stitch it at night. It's kind of nice because there's no counting, so you're just kind of following the picture and putting, you know, threads where they go. You've outlined it on here, but then she gives you kind of a stitching photo to follow as well. And it was easier than pie. I mean, it was super easy. And then, I don't know, I just added this to the top, and it's just stuck down in there. I have a piece of scrapbook paper on the back. My finishing is not the best for that. I need to find out. I think Daleen does paper finishing on the back of hoops, and something about she wets them and then the paper dries. I don't know. I have to find out more about that. But anyway, that was a fun finish, and just little ice skater people. And she has several other, I bought a couple other charts or patterns as well. Okay, so I have here, I don't know, 10 or 12 whips. And so I'm gonna do a little bit of a whip parade. These are whips that I am going to be concentrating on for the next little bit. Some of them will get done in the next few days, and some of them, you know, I may get tired of and move on to some other whips. In the last few days, I've really gotten the hankering to stitch Valentines, and I have a lot of Valentine smalls, so I wasn't going to do any Valentine smalls this year. And then I saw a couple things that Priscilla and Chelsea had done, a couple of charts that they had come up with that I just fell in love with, and so I did buy those, and I don't know if those will get stitched this year or not, but I am working on the February Trekking Along, and I do belong to the club, and I do have one of these for every single month. I haven't done all the months. Some of the months I don't care for, you know, not for any particular reason. They're cute, but some of the months I've loved. Oh, and just January was another one that I finished, and it's actually on display over there. But anyway, I loved February. I thought February was really pretty, and I loved the simple little roses and the letters at the top hanging on the line. I thought those were so cute. So I started stitching this when I finished January, which was in December, and I didn't get super far, but then I've been working on it the last few days, and I'm fairly close. So I just have to finish the rest of the letters at the top and the rest of this post. And then I think there are 2 more chickens that go on at the bottom, and then I just need to do the fill-in, which I save that for like nighttime when I don't really feel like counting. But yeah, it's just really pretty. This is on 16 count or 18 count. I think it's 16 count black Ada. And I do enjoy stitching on it in that it's easy to see. I can see it. It's a little rough. It's not, I mean, it's just a little bit rough. I've got an Ada from Teresa, Kitten Stitcher, that is so soft. It's like stitching with butter. And in fact, it's what I stitched my Red House sampler on. And I have another sampler that I started on a piece of Ada from Teresa. This is just, I think, Witchelt Ada from the Fat Quarter Shop, and it's not bad, and it does soften up over time, but it's just not, it's not as soft. So I don't know that I'll do any more on this particular Ada. Although if I want to do black, I can see it where I can't see, you know, other stuff better. I'm going to lose daylight here, and it's going to be really hard to see. I'm going to take a sip. It's very early for me to be drinking wine, but I figured since it was Maddie's 21st, that would be okay. I am doing several more kind words in different ways and fabrics and thread, and this was just a piece of random fabric that I had in my stash, and I decided to do it this way. I have an idea for finishing that, and that's for a friend. But then I was watching, and I'm showing you that because on the other side of this fabric, I have used like every square inch of this fabric. It's a 32 count. I think it's a picture of this plus 32 count something, and it's just, it's really, really lovely fabric. It's kind of a pinky peachy color, and which is nice for Valentine's Day. But who was I watching? Oh, Barbara's daughter, Kim, I think is her name. And she talked about these freebies that are from the Fat Quarter Shop, and they are conversation hearts. And so they have 5 of them. I mean, it's the same pattern. They did them in 5 different colors. And I just thought that is just too stinking cute, and I want to do all 5. So they were all in DMC colors. It's a free chart on Fat Quarter Shop's website. If you go to Fat Quarter Shop and go to cross stitch, and then I think there's a section for freebies. So anyway, I started 5, and I have 2.5 complete. And so I used overdyed because I thought that would be kind of fun and funky, and then I stitched them, and so their chart has the XO on them, each one. And if you look at conversation hearts, like the traditional Brock's Candies conversation hearts, because I did this to make sure I knew what I was talking about, or stitching about, they all have red lettering. And so, and that's how they're charted in the chart from Fat Quarter. But I decided I wanted to use overdyes, and because I had some perfect overdyes that I had just gotten some springy colors. And so I wanted to see the difference if I stitched this way or if I stitched around, and see kind of how they turned out. And I decided I liked the lines better than the stitching around. Sorry about the dogs. So there's a purple and a blue one, and then I have a pink, a yellow, and a green one started, and I kind of charted my own letters. So love you, cutie, and I love you, because those were things that I saw that I thought were appropriate. There's some stuff on conversation hearts sometimes that are just weird. That's the downside to filming in the front room, is then the dogs look out the window and they see squirrels and bunnies, and I don't really know what he just saw, but I had to let him out. And then I have another kind word started in a very, very pretty, I forget what this is, but it's a silk, and it's so pretty. Anyway, so I have ideas for those. So I've just kind of been today, off and on. I've had some stuff to do around the house, and then as I've had time to sit and stitch a little bit, I've kind of, well, let's see what the yellow looks like. Let's see what the green looks like. But I'd like to get those done this weekend, because, you know, Valentine's Day is going to be here on Monday. Not Valentine's Day, but February is going to be here on Monday. Oh, and I just ordered, I was going to show you this, I just got this, a small little teeny tiny dough bowl, and for January, I just put some red and green. It really needs to be blue and white, but I didn't have any. I just put this in there because I didn't really have anything small. This isn't a bigger dough bowl with a little Ray Dunn house thing, but it does kind of work in there as well. I want to put those conversation hearts in here, so I'll do them as little pillows. We do it, and you know, and then they'll go in here with maybe some red confetti or something, and that'll look really cute. So now I'm just gonna go through my whips and show you what I've been working on and what I'm planning to concentrate on over the course of the next little bit. So, who was I watching? I was watching someone today, and I don't remember who it was, but I was watching someone today who talked about Lottie Da, the designer Lottie Da, and I have a lot of her charts, and this freebie that was kind of a Valentine-ish sampler. And so I had to go over to Lottie Da's website, and Lottie Da actually has a ton of really cute freebies, mostly little samplers, and they're adorable. And so I pulled two and or downloaded two, and I just think that's so amazing that somebody would be willing to share, you know, like I can understand if it's one little thing, but I mean, these are actual samplers. So I don't have a picture of it because I downloaded it to Notes Pro on my iPad, which is what I'm using to film. But it's just a sampler. It was done and there was not a colored picture of it, but they told you that the letters and numbers were, it's just an alphabet sampler with numbers at the bottom, and it has little hearts throughout, all different little hearts throughout. And I think it's just kind of a square, you know, very tiny, and it was done on, I think, 40 count or 36 count or whatever. And she said that the letters were and numbers were to be done in black and the hearts in red. And so I pulled a couple of a Victorian motto. This is called Midnight, and I have my red in there. This is called Midnight, and this one is a Gloriana Black Cherry, and so it actually does have quite a bit of dark or you know, black in it. I can always turn those lights on if it gets too dark. I can tell it's getting really dark. And I pulled a piece of 40 count, I think this is even weave, that was in my stash that I had coffee tea dyed quite a while ago for something that would be rather primitive, and I think it ended up coming out darker than what I wanted for what I was doing at that point. So I put it aside and saved it, but it's quite prim. I mean, it's quite dirty, grungy. And I got a start on it this morning, and oh my goodness, I love it so much. So I started in the lower right hand corner, and all it is the numbers 1 through 10 or 1 through 0, and then the letters, and it's probably only going to take up a quarter of this fabric, maybe just a little bit more than that. But I loved it, and it's really lovely to stitch on this fabric with these threads, and which I just threw on the floor. And so that was something that I wasn't even planning on doing, and it was literally one of those things that I was watching her, and I was stitching on February Trucking Along, and I downloaded the pattern and went upstairs and got the thread and the fabric and started working on it. So, because I'm a nut like that. Okay, another thing that I really would like to spend some time on, and I have, is, and you've all seen this, is Eyes on the Sparrow by Heartstring Samplery. This is my very oldest whip. This is the whip that got me back into cross stitching, and I don't know if that was 20, or I mean if that was 5 years ago, or not 25 years ago, if that was 5 years ago or 7 years ago, I don't remember. I guess I should see when this pattern came out. But I think this pattern had been out for a while. Okay, I have to go let the dogs in. Hold on one second. Okay, so the dogs are out for a little bit, and now they're going to be very breathless because they've been running around. So I don't know, but it's my oldest whip, and it's the thing that definitely got me back into cross stitching. And I didn't work on it very long before I found floss tube and all these other things that I wanted to do, and so, you know, of course it got waylaid. But I started in the upper left hand corner, and I have maybe just a little bit more. I think that is a page and a half that I have done there. Got to start on the house. And I was watching, and I did do 24 hours of cross stitching this last weekend. I mean, I didn't make 24 hours. I did 8 hours on Friday, 8 hours on Saturday, and then I think I only got 3 hours in on Sunday. But I was watching Jen Lee and her mom, Cindy, and they worked all weekend on, why can't I think it, Consider the Lilies. And so it was very inspiring to see how much they got done on Consider the Lilies.